Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm going to be going over my top 10 weapons to use. For this list, I'm not including any vehicle-mounted weapons, specialist class weapons, and gear or grenades, strictly sticking with primary and secondary guns. So, with that said, let's dive into it. Coming in at number 10, we have the AK-24. It's the second highest damaging assault rifle that has a ton of attachments to choose from, including a 50-round drum magazine, making it borderline an LMG. It's honestly an excellent starter weapon, or something to use for fun here and there, but that's about it. There's a couple of major things that hold this weapon back from being ranked higher up on the list. Like, first off, it's got a decent amount of recoil, making it harder to control, especially when you're shooting at targets from a farther distance. The gun just bounces around way too much to land shots consistently. Its short range isn't good either. It may have the second best damage output for assault rifles, but it's also got the second slowest fire rate to go with it, and the damage isn't nearly enough to compensate for it. And lastly, the accuracy isn't that great either. Even when you're aiming down sights dead on someone at a medium to long range, I would say, there's a good chance you're gonna miss a lot of those shots easily. Like I said, it's a great starter weapon or something to use for fun, but not very efficient. Next up, we got the PF51 pistol. This one may be a bit controversial having a pistol on here, but this thing has got to be the best secondary weapon you can get. The fire rate on it is comparable to SMGs, and since it's a secondary weapon, you basically have a pocket SMG for any close range encounters. The 50-round magazine it comes with is more than enough for any gunfight, like you can kill multiple people in front of you and still have bullets to spare. And with it being a pistol, it's got a very quick aim down sight speed and movement speed. It's everything you'd want in a pistol. Not to say that it's perfect, cause there are some flaws in it. Being a pistol, the damage drops off very fast, so it's only usable at close ranges, or else you're gonna have to empty the mag on them if they're far away and hope that's enough to kill them. To make it worse, the high fire rate comes with a ton of recoil, so it's almost impossible to land those shots on anyone that isn't close to you. The weapon's generally great for when you have to reload and need to switch to something else reliable for short distance fights, but not something you'd want to use as your main weapon. Still very effective for a pistol though. Continuing on, we have the 12M auto shotgun at the number 8 spot. This is the best close range weapon in the game. Anytime you turn a corner and there's someone there, you're gonna win that gunfight no matter what. Even if you miss, it's full auto. It tosses out follow-up shots so rapidly, people don't even have time to react to it. Not to mention, you only need to land 2 of those shots to get the kill. To make it even better, you can unlock a 20-round drum magazine and a barrel attachment to increase its fire rate some more. I feel like a full auto shotgun with a drum magazine kinda speaks for itself, but again, it is just a shotgun though. Similar to the machine pistol, it's only good for close range fights, but you know, extremely good for close range fights. It also takes up a primary weapon slot, and limiting yourself to only short range fights is gonna be difficult with how big and expansive most of the maps are in this. However, when you do get those maps that have objectives in buildings or chokeholds, you can push through and clear them out so easily. I definitely say this weapon's a good mix of fun and efficiency. Next up is number 7, the K30 or the Vector. It's the fastest firing SMG, making it ideal for up close gunfights, and with it having one of the tightest crosshair groupings as well, you can fire from the hip confidently knowing most of those shots are going to land. Now, you'd think this weapon's only good for close range fighting, but no. It can cover mid-range distances pretty well with how predictable the recoil is. As long as you drag straight down while you're shooting, you'll stay on target with no problems at all. To top things off, it can also use a 50-round drum magazine, so when you go for those large flanks or have to fight off multiple guys at once, you won't have to stop and reload, which is perfect. It's everything you would expect and want from an SMG with barely any issues. But there are 2 issues though. The first one is it only comes with a 20-round magazine, which can feel really crippling at the beginning, like you're limited to getting 1 to 2 kills per magazine, so reloading all the time can get pretty annoying fast. Not to mention, you need to get 90 kills to unlock the 40-round magazine and 300 to unlock the 50-round drum. A little bit of work, but I think it'd be worth it. And the second issue is when you are firing from a distance, it is an SMG after all. The damage will drop off fairly fast, but again, it's got a fast fire rate and easy to control recoil, so it's not too hard to land all of your shots on target. It's just gonna take a little bit more time. Coming in at the number 6 spot, we have the M416 assault rifle. This has an incredibly smooth recoil combined with a well-balanced fire rate and damage. It's one of the easiest and most straightforward weapons to use. Another thing it does a lot better than the AK-24 and the other guns previously mentioned is actually having majority of your bullets land on target when you're shooting from a farther distance. It's best used at mid-range, works well from a distance, and because it's well balanced with its damage and fire rate, there's only a few SMGs that'll beat this in an up-close gunfight. So what are the things that brought it to the number 6 spot and not higher up? To be honest, there's not really much aside from not having too many attachments to pick from, but you still get the ones you need, like the best 2x, 4x, and 1.25 thermal optics and a 40 round extended magazine. The main thing for this weapon was its low recoil and good accuracy. The damage and fire rate are about average for the weapons in the assault rifle class, but it didn't stand out as much. Not to say that it's bad, it's just the other weapons have more features or the same ones but better. Moving on, we have the Avency LMG at the number 5 spot. It covers most of the areas the other weapons were lacking in, but also comes with its own unique issues. Ammo is not a problem at all, coming with a 100 round magazine, and you can unlock a 200 round magazine with 180 kills. It does do a bit more damage than most of the assault rifles while having a similar fire rate as well, so it makes it a pretty good option for short range fights. In addition to that, the low amount of recoil it has, and using this weapon with the engineer class that gives improved accuracy to LMGs when crouched or prone makes it very powerful at medium to long distances as well. It covers all the ranges nicely and makes for a great pick for defending objectives or holding down areas. The fact it didn't get higher up was a bit of a shock seeing how well rounded it is, but the reload time on it is a huge drawback, and on top of that, the handling isn't that great either. This isn't as big of an issue that I'm making it out to be, I just have to compare it to the other weapons I have on the list that outrank it for better reasons. Believe me, this weapon's very solid and you can get tons of kills with this easily. The same can be said with the number 4 weapon, the SWS-10, the fastest sniper with a short barrel attachment, making it perfect for getting follow-up shots or taking out groups of enemies quickly. And if that wasn't enough, it's also got the largest magazine size of 12 rounds, and you can swap out the short barrel for the extended barrel to get the second best range, giving it the least amount of bullet drop when shooting from farther distances. It's the best headshot gun in the game, and using this with a thermal scope is a little bit too overpowered. Like, you can wipe out an entire team of enemy snipers easily and more. Not to mention, you have a wide variety of attachments to choose from. It's honestly just as fun as it is effective. And you can probably guess what the main issue is with it, that it's a sniper. Not good at all up close. Even with the fastest fire rate, it's almost impossible to win those close gunfights unless they're already damaged or you're a quick scoping god. Regardless, this is an issue with every sniper in the game, but you're going to be able to pick enemies off so rapidly. The only way they could get close enough to you is if they smoke off the entire area or if they go all the way around the map to flank you, which they do sometimes when you've killed them over 5 times in a row. Getting back to the assault rifles, we have the M5A3 at the number 3 spot. Yes, the starter weapon is one of the best weapons to use for a variety of reasons, not including that it's just given to you right off the start. It's got a ton of attachments to choose from, like a short barrel that increases the fire rate, a 40 round magazine, and even a close range magazine that increases the fire rate, recoil control, and handling, turning the assault rifle into one of the best SMGs with no recoil at all. The gun with the standard magazines already has barely any recoil to it, so it only gets better. Very similar to the M416 being very well rounded, but this excels much more because of its attachments, making it a very good option at close ranges and medium distances. There's not really any cons to this weapon, except for just having to unlock all of the attachments to make it really powerful, but other than that, like, the long distance isn't the best, but it's hard to get a weapon that covers all 3 ranges perfectly without breaking the game. But not impossible, because I think there's one weapon that covers them real nicely. And before that, we got the BSVM Marksman Rifle coming in at the number 2 spot. This weapon checks off pretty much all of the boxes. It's good at a distance, being the marksman rifle that it is, and on top of that, you get the same effect as the M5A3 assault rifle. When you unlock more of the attachments, you get access to close range magazines that make the weapon way more effective than almost all of the assault rifles and most of the SMGs. A 2.5x and a 6x thermal scope for both close range and long range fighting, and it comes with a suppressor when you unlock it. Besides that, the biggest things for this weapon was the fact that it's the only full auto marksman rifle with easily controllable recoil. You get the customization feature to make it extremely powerful at all ranges. This weapon and the number 1 weapon were so close to each other that I had to get really picky with them. But there was one thing that kept it from taking the top spot, and that's the 10 round magazine it starts off with. In the beginning, you can get around 2 to 3 kills depending on how well you land your shots before you have to reload. Missing any or overshooting at someone becomes heavily punishing because you're not going to know if you have enough rounds to secure that next kill with how little you already start off with. Ending this list with the number 1 weapon is the SCAR, or the SFARM GL assault rifle. This weapon handles every situation so well, it kind of becomes unfun to use for how good it is. It's got the highest damage out of all the assault rifles, even matching the BSVM's damage, which is a marksman rifle. Little to no recoil at all, like using a 4.5x scope feels really comfortable, and it has the accuracy to go with it. Perfect mid-range weapon, fantastic at long distances, and still powerful up close. You can also attach an AP grenade launcher round to it to damage vehicles, and a 40 round drum magazine. Right off the start, the weapon's good and you can pick up kills easily with it. On the other hand, the downsides to the rifle is having a much slower fire rate than most of the other weapons in the game, but the damage is more than enough to cover for that. And not being able to use any other underbarrel attachments except for different grenade launcher rounds. I mean, you don't really need any underbarrel attachments with how accurate and smooth this weapon shoots. Before I end the video, here are some honorable mentions that were really close to making the list, but were just short. The DM7 Marksman Rifle, PP29 SMG, NTW50 Sniper, and the GEW46 Assault Rifle. If you guys enjoyed the video or feel like I missed some weapons, let me know in the comment section down below and why. Well, that covers everything. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope I'll see you all in the next one.